This is a quick Lightroom tutorial to show an effective dodge and burning effect using a simple technique which is quite a lot quicker than using adjustment brushes. You need an image where the subject is lighter than the background. Here we have a portrait where the subject is sitting in open shade and the trees and bushes behind are slightly darker. So you start by choosing your image and putting it into the develop mode in Lightroom. After that, you need to drop your exposure in Lightroom on your develop panel by around about 3 stops. So here I'll just take it back up slightly. Yeah, so that's about 3 stops. So the whole thing looks rather dark. The next step is to lift up the blacks to +100. So go to the black slider and go all the way to +100, and you can see some of the details starting to reappear. Then you need to lift the highlights into the positive amount to taste. I'm going to go up to maximum +100 with highlights too, and then after that we lift the whites into the plus section, which kind of controls the real white point of your, in this case, skin tone. And you can see I can make the skin really bleach out here. So I'm going to take it back down to somewhere here where we're just getting nice bright whites. And then you can lift the shadow slider into the positive, and just to see how much you want the background and the darker tones to show through. Right, so I'm going to go up a little bit and see what it looks like, but then take it back down slightly. I'm going to just tweak the exposure now. Now I've got some idea of how it's looking, and go a little bit up on the exposure to minus 2.7 I'm going to go to. Take my highlights down a little bit again to make it look slightly more sort of chiaroscuro, if you like. And I'm going to put my shadows down a little bit again. I'm quite happy with the face. I think the face is looking quite good in the shadows. I think the arms are looking quite bright here, so I'm just going to tone those down a bit by using a graduated filter. And I'm just going to slide the graduated filter up from the bottom left corner up over the arms, which really sort of darkens them down a bit and stops them from being so distracting. And the exposure is down to 2.3, minus 2.3 on the exposure, so you can play around with that, maybe just a little bit lighter. Makes them less distracting but not completely disappearing. And then you can keep tweaking the whites and the highlights just until you get everything looking how you want it to, really. But you can see, compared with the original, that I have a very sort of dark background, dark overall shirt, and a sort of fairly nice looking light on the face. So all I did was I started with a photograph which had a subject which was a lot lighter than the background. I really turned down the exposure quite a lot, and I brought up the blacks to 100, and I brought up the whites, the shadows and the highlights just a taste to make it look like a dodged and burned image.